looks to be making landfall as a major hurricane on Florida's Nature coastline, right in the Big Bend there. And one important thing to note here, the stronger this gets in the Gulf of Mexico, the stronger it's going to be as it moves inland. If you're anywhere along, say, Corinth Church or Union Hill School, this is past you. We're seeing this threat extend into portions of Orangeburg County. And notice that little notch right there. That's what we're watching. High-profile vehicles, that's dangerous driving weather for anybody if you're driving on a major highway where you're going at high speed. It's 10 to 2 today.
That's a snake.
I'm a snake. There we go. When that cooler, drier air tries to move in against that warm, humid air, where that boundary is what we call a fire hose effect. And that's what's happening very evidently in southern Jefferson County. You know, we were just talking about the biggest breakthrough in science in 20 years. I'm talking about today, the biggest breakthrough in 4 days. It's the sun. Check it out. And notice how this thing just spins for you right there. That's when we get those tornado signatures, and you have to watch out for those very closely on the tail end of those squall lines. Well, I brought mine today. I think everybody should wear theirs.
Of course, the gator.
And they're zooming in
does
on
have
it.
a little bit of something on it that I think many of you don't want to wear. Well, a lot of us finally getting some drier air in place, but others not so much. On the warm, humid side of the stationary front, that's where we've had a lot of rain. Flash flood warning in place. If you're a fan of fall-like weather, this is very refreshing, but in the words of Bachman-Turner Overdrive, you ain't seen nothing yet. We've got temperatures coming down into the 40s, welcoming you on Sunday morning. I'm going to measure this away from the storm. You're about, give or take, 25 miles away. So that means the radar is going to be very good at picking up any rotation within this storm, and we're not seeing a lot of signs of that. But speaking of Chicago, you know, you've got all this rain up there, and you've got all this rain down here, and it's all connected. Notice one stray cumulonimbus cloud out in the distance is starting to fade just a little bit as it weakens, moving from west to east. That is your definition of a 10% chance of rain. One shower this morning, and that is located in Barnwell County. You can see it here. Whenever you see red up that high, that'll let you know that's some pretty heavy rain. So folks in Barnwell, you're getting that downpour this morning. A 100% chance of rain for you, if you will, but little to nothing for everybody else today.
He felt like he was at a Beyonce concert.
He was like, where'd Danielle go?
Exactly.
Yeah. I love it so much, I'm ready to go to the left, to the weather.
That was great, Alex.
This is what we call a bolt from the blue, and these happen about 10 to 15 miles even away from said thunderstorm. This is a dangerous thing that can happen where you're not even expecting rumples of thunder or streaks of lightning. I don't know if you like Gordon Lightfoot and James Taylor.
Yes.
Well, we've got some of their songs and Leon's new song. It's called Cut and Paste. We're talking about all those in Weather Music Mess. It's actually coming up right after this break, so stay with us.
Oh boy,
Let's do it.
let's do it.
Sponsored by Brighter Side Roofing.
Let's start us out eastbound this morning, I-20 exit 195, and we didn't get the best view of sunrise, right? Just a few peaks in the clouds early on, but say bye to that because there is a lot more rain on the way today. Some of that's already moving into the CSRA, and these are the outer bands of what is right now Hurricane Idalia. We're waiting on landfall any moment now. This is going to be closer to Steinhatchee, Florida, and parts of Taylor County, and this is a Category 3 storm at this time, so sustained winds of 125 miles an hour, a very powerful storm, and it's undergoing its eyewall replacement cycle right now. So what that means is it's going to be trying to keep its strength as it moves further inland, and that's unfortunately the case for us here. This storm is still going to be at Category 2 strength, pushing near Waycross and Douglas, Georgia. So this storm is a very strong one, and this looks to be a Category 1 hurricane as it moves the center of the storm in between Sylvania and Savannah, closer to later on this afternoon and into the evening hours. So that means that we're going to have a drastic difference in impacts north of I-20 and south of I-20. If you're north of I-20, you're still going to see gusty winds up to 40 miles an hour and heavy rain, but the further south you go, the more impacts we could see. Very evident here. Hurricane warning already for Bullitt County, and that's neighboring some of our southernmost counties. So you folks in Swainsboro, Millen, and Sylvania, you're going to see some impactful weather later this afternoon and this evening, not just from the rainfall, but you're also going to see it from the heavy winds as well. And that even goes for you folks in Allendale and the Midlands. Now, all of us are under a tropical storm warning, at least along and south of I-20. So that goes until this storm has passed. So all of us along and south of I-20 have that greatest chance of wind gusts up to 40 to 60 miles an hour. That's mainly going to be later on this afternoon. So the winds are going to be impactful later today. The rain, that starts now. Notice down towards Swainsboro and Millen, some of that light to steady rain trying to push on in, and a bigger, heavier batch is moving in from I-95. This is closer to Allendale, Barnwell, and Bamberg. With any of these storms, we have to watch for rotation. In fact, down to the south, we already have a tornado warning. That's closer to Screven, Georgia, not Screven County, but the town, and that's further down closer to Highway 25 in the southern half of the state. So any of these storms could rotate, and we're going to watch those carefully for you in the hours ahead. We already have a tornado watch for Jenkins and Screven County until 3 o'clock this afternoon. But yet again, main storyline is this is going to be a heavy rain event. An aerial flood watch already in place as some of our rainfall totals exceed 5 to even 6 inches in a very short period of time. Best chance of that heaviest rain south of I-20. The further north you go, the less impacts you're going to see. I can't repeat that enough. You folks in Warrenton over to Washington, you're still going to get the breezy weather. You're still going to get some potential flash flooding. But folks down to the south of I-20, you really need to pay attention to the winds on top of the rain. That's going to be one of the biggest impacts. So like I was talking about earlier, the winds don't come in until later on this afternoon and evening. Some of those gusts are going to get up to about 40 to 60 miles an hour. Closer to maybe even Sylvania, we could see one up to 70 miles an hour. It will be an impactful storm, but notice the higher likelihoods are down to the south where you see the reds and the oranges here. Further towards Augusta, Aiken, up to Edgefield, less impactful wind gusts for you. And you can see that on our Futurecast map here. Notice by the time we get to 3 o'clock, that's when the heaviest of those the winds starts to push on through. Going forward, 50 to 55 miles an hour possible. And with all the moisture we've had as of late, that could down trees and power lines, especially with how saturated that soil is. So notice how much rain we're going to get. Notice this is about 10 to 11 o'clock. Heavy rain starting to move on in, and it doesn't go anywhere. So you folks south of I-20, you're going to be under this heavy band of rain for quite a long period of time. This is where we'll watch for a few tornadoes as well. Any of these bands, they try to rotate as this storm pushes through, especially close to the storm center. But fortunately, by midnight tonight, I think we're going to see most of the action off to our east, and that gives way to much more pleasant weather on the backside of this. Clearing skies for tomorrow afternoon, and then Friday and Saturday, low to mid 80s and a lot of sunshine.